The NBA draft is approaching soon and it looks to be one of the most interesting one in years given all the uncertainty that's been going on. I think we'll see some stars and some big deals go down on draft day, so let's go over 5 blockbuster trades on draft night that would shock the NBA. And very quickly before we get into it, if you want to see more interesting NBA content just like this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe as I really do appreciate all you guys' support. First up I have Danny Green, Quinn Cook, and the Lakers 2020 first round pick to the Thunder for Dennis Schroder. For the Lakers, they'll be getting an excellent point guard who can either start or come off the bench. Schroder was great for Oklahoma City, mainly coming off the bench last season, as he averaged 18.9 points and 4 assists while shooting 38.5% from 3. He's developed into a very good 3-point shooter and a guy who can get to the rim with ease, and he would likely be a super 6 man for LA. He would run the second unit and be able to get his own shot and create baskets for others, and he would be a much more consistent option than someone like Dion Waiters. However, he could also be the starting point guard too, as he played both on and off the ball with Oklahoma City. As I said before, he's really improved his 3-point shooting, but he could also thrive as a secondary playmaker next to LeBron. He will take a lot of pressure off of Bron here, as we've seen with his ability to pass, and his average of 4.6 assists per game throughout his career. The Lakers will be getting a very good win-now player in this deal while not having to give up too much, as Green was pretty mediocre at best this season, and the first round pick isn't high at all. On the other hand, the Thunder would do this trade to get some decent assets for an expiring vet in Schroder. Green is a solid shooting guard who can be slotted in the starting lineup or traded for another asset to a contender, and the first round pick can be used to find a potential hidden gem in this draft. I like this trade for both sides, and I think it would really help both teams in where they're each at this moment. So next up, I have Russell Westbrook to the Charlotte Hornets for Terry Rozier and Cody Zeller. I like this trade for both sides, and let's start off from the Hornets' perspective. Westbrook is one of Jordan's favorite players in the NBA, and getting him to join his team would be something he would likely want as an owner. Also, Russell will bring some much needed excitement for Charlotte, as the team doesn't have much hype with no true stars on the team. Devontae Graham is a nice player along with Bridges, but they don't bring that same level of excitement that Westbrook would bring. Russell will likely help get the Hornets to at least a low seed in the playoffs in the East, and that should help bring fans to seats if there is attendance eventually allowed in the playoffs. A starting 5 of Westbrook, Graham, Bridges, Washington, and say the Hornets are able to draft Wiseman would actually be pretty good, and I think they would have a legitimate shot at even making the second round if Wiseman is more NBA ready than we expect. The Rockets would do this trade to mainly get rid of Westbrook's terrible contract, and they get somewhat of a clean slate and some players who would fit well next to Harden. As I said before, they'd be able to get out of Westbrook's long-term contract to allow more roster flexibility in the future, with Zeller's expiring contract ending after this season, and they would get a nice replacement for Westbrook in Rozier. Obviously, he's nowhere near the same level of talent compared to Westbrook, but I'd argue that he's a much better fit and on a better contract. Rozier can create his own shot and run the offense at times, but he's very good as an off-ball guard too who can shoot the 3. Also, he's a good defender and is basically an upgraded Beverly, who was also a pretty good fit with Harden back when they played together. Zeller is also a solid center who can start or come off the bench, and he's a very underrated rim protector who's been trying to extend his range to 3 as well. The Rockets could try out a potentially nice starting lineup of Rozier, Harden, Covington, Tucker, and Zeller, and I feel like this could actually be a really nice 5 that could end up being better than they look on paper. I could see the Hornets eventually having to throw in maybe 1 or 2 second round picks, but I don't think it will cost them much to get Westbrook, as Russell's bad contract doesn't give the Rockets a lot of leverage in this deal. Moving on, I have Andrew Wiggins, the number 2 overall pick, and a future second round pick to the Indiana Pacers for Miles Turner and TJ Warren. This would be a really fun trade that would help set up the Warriors as a championship contender next season. The Warriors would get 2 win-now players in Turner and Warren, and both would slide in seamlessly in the starting lineup. Turner would provide Golden State with that rim protector they need to guard guys like Davis and Gobert in the West, and he could also spread the floor with his 3-point shooting. He would be an excellent pick and pop option for Curry, and he would give the Warriors a new dimension to their offense they haven't had in a long time. But let's not forget about Warren, who lit up the bubble as a go-to scorer for the Pacers. He was really efficient, and he could be a great fit as a guy who can help spread the floor for Curry and Thompson, but he also has the ability to create his own shot and is a good slasher too. A starting lineup of Curry, Thompson, Warren, Green, and Turner would be absolutely nasty, and I think they could legitimately match up well against both the Lakers and the Clippers. On the other hand, the Pacers would do this trade to get the number 2 overall pick in essentially a rebuilding move, and getting someone like LaMelo Ball could help finally bring some much needed excitement and star potential for the franchise. I just think the Pacers need to make some big changes, as Turner was not a good fit with Sabonis, and getting Ball to pair up with him and Brogdon would be a solid big three that actually may give the Pacers a chance to make the playoffs while also raising their future ceiling too. If Indiana also trades Oladipo for assets, they can get some nice pieces to help build for their long-term future and finally get out of just being a solid playoff team forever. Moving on, I have Chris Paul to Phoenix Suns for Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre Jr., and a second round pick. This would be a win now move for the Suns, and I think this could finally push them into the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. A backcourt of Paul and Booker would be one of the best in the NBA, and CP3 would take a lot of pressure off of Book. He could help run the offense while providing some much needed leadership that could rub off on Booker in the future, and he's also a very good defender still and a great 3-point shooter to play off of Devin at times as well. The Thunder would do this trade to get off of Paul's contract, and they would be also getting some nice pieces here as well. Rubio is a nice stopgap option starter at the point, and Oubre is still very young and can become a part of the young core as a nice third scoring option. They'll also be getting a small second round pick that could be potentially good given Presti's history of making great draft pick moves, and I think they'll still be able to at least compete for a playoff spot. We'll see what happens in the Chris Paul sweepstakes, but I think the Suns will be the best landing spot for him and also give the Thunder one of the best returns they can reasonably expect. And finally, I've Drew Holiday to the Denver Nuggets for Gary Harris, Will Barton, Bobo, and a future first round pick. The Nuggets would get that co-star in the backcourt next to Murray, and Holiday could take some pressure off of him and Jokic on offense. But he'll mainly help on defense, where he'll be able to take on the tougher perimeter assignment as well, whether it be a guard or even some forwards too. He will just be a steady presence, which is much needed with Harris being so hot and cold over the past few years, and the Nuggets wouldn't have to give up Michael Porter Jr. in this trade. I know it's going to be tough to trade Bobo, but you need to trade assets to get these star players, and it will be worth it in my opinion in a win now move. The Pelicans would do this trade to get some great assets and fill in some needs, as Harris can start next to Ball and provide some floor spacing in the starting lineup. Also, Barton would be an excellent 6-man off the bench, and Bobo would be a tremendous asset and a player who can become a legitimate star in the future. Also, they'll be getting a future first round pick too, and this could be used to get another young player for the core, or be traded in a win now move if the Pelicans take the next step and become a true playoff team next year. So that's a wrap. Thank you guys all for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video and want to see more daily NBA content just like this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and also be sure to turn on post notifications so you can stay updated on my next video will be coming out. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram and hit me if you want to talk about basketball or business. Just drop a comment down below my photo or DM me and I'll definitely try to get back to most of you guys there. Drop a comment down below on which draft night trades you want to see. It could be one from this video or one that you thought of. Let me know down in the comments below as I do roll comments. I'm definitely interested to see what you guys have to say here as well. So without that being said, once again, thank you guys all for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Peace.